यशोदानन्दन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरा Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Jaya Kishore Kishore Jaya Kishore 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 Jaya Kishore Kishore Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya गौरवानंदे हरि हरि बोल जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस राष्ट्र स्वामी संशुल्पपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे गो ऑल ग्लोरीज हरे कृष्ण ऑल ग्लोरीज हरे कृष्ण ऑल ग्लोरीज हरे कृष्ण ऑल ग्लोरीज श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरांग गौर विष्णुपाद की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from Canto 10, Chapter 58, Slok number 56 and 57. Kindly repeat the word to word translation. Shruti Kriteha of Shruti Kirti. Sutam, the daughter. Bhadram, named Bhadra. Upayame, married. Pitrusvasuh, of his father's sister. Kaikayam, the princess of Kaikaya. Bhrityubhi, by her brothers. Datam, given. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Santardana Adibhi, headed by Santardana. Sruti krite sutam bhadram. Shruti krite sutam bhadram. Shruti krite sutam bhadram. Upayame pitrushvasu. Upayame pitrushvasu. Upayame pitrushvasu. Kaikayam vrata virdata. Kaikayam vrati virdata. Kaikayam vraturvata. Krishna Santardhanadivi. Krishna Santardhanadivi. Krishna Santardhanadivi. Shruti krite sutam bhadram. Upayeme pitrushvasu. Kaikayam vatru vritat Krishna. Tadatam. Kaikayam vratru vidatam. Kaikayam vratru vidatam. Krishna Sandarbhanavi. Krishna Sandarbhanadvi. Shruti krite sutam bhadram. Upayame pitrusvasaha. Kaikayam vrata virdata. Krishna Sandardhanavi. Can you repeat? Shruta kirte sutam bhadram. Upayame pitrusvasu. Kaikayam bhartu vidatam. Krishna Santardhanadivi. Shruta kirti satam bhadra. Paye me pitrasvasaha. Gaikayam vrata virdatam. Krishna Santardhanadivi. Shruta kirti sutam bhadra. Upaye me pitrusvasu. Kaikayim vratu virdatam. Krishna Santardhanavi. Translation by John Shil Prabhupada. Shil Prabhupada ki Jai. Bhadra was the princess of the Kaikaya kingdom and the daughter of the Lord Krishna's parental aunt Shrutakirti. The Lord married Bhadra when her brothers, headed by Santardhana, offered her to him. I'll read one more verse. Sutam chamadradipirpatera Lakshmi manam Lakshminaryatam Swayam vare jahare krisa sampurna sudamivi. Translation. Then the Lord married Lakshmana, the daughter of the king Madra. Krishna appeared alone at her Swayamvara ceremony and took her away, just as the Garuda once stole the demigod's nectar. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Vilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna. So here this chapter describes Lord Krishna marrying to five princes. So in our last session we saw uh, how Krishna married to the daughter of sun god. Now in our today's session we are going to see how Lord's marriage to his another wife Bhadra, the princess of kingdom Kaikaya. So the relation between Bhadra and Bhadra's family and Lord Krishna's family is like they are Krishna's parental aunt, Shrutikirti's uh, uh, daughter. So that's how the description comes here. And here, voluntarily they offered this Bhadra to Lord Krishna. So in material world, if you see, there are a lot of times people get envious. If someone has more than one wife, immediately people think uh, of that person something different. But here, voluntarily, lot of princes they are ready to marry to Lord. They are ready to offer themselves to the Lord. You can see, generally people with force they try to acquire certain things, even if somebody doesn't want. But here, Lord is so beautiful, so attractive in his all opulences that it immediately things are coming to him. So here this Kaikaya's daughter is offered to Lord. We can see the very tendency what to brings us this material world is envious against the Lord. But we should be happy when we see that the someone is engaging in service of the Lord. So it may be in any format, like it might be in any relationship. So here, this Bhadra is getting engaged as a personal wife of Lord Krishna. So it is the mood of Vaikuntha is anybody who is engaging in service of the Lord, it become more happy. When any devotee is serving Lord, other devotee become very happy. So that is the mood of Vaikuntha. So when the mood of Vaikuntha we have to imbibe in this world, then we have to think how the devotees of the Lord they think in the spiritual world. There is nobody is envious of anyone. Everyone is encouraging others. Everyone is feels happy when other devotees enhancing his services. So uh, the tendency of the material world and the tendency of the spiritual world is totally opposite. That's how it is said in Bhagavad Gita. This material world is a perverted reflection of the true happiness what is there in spiritual world. Urdhvavilam Agashasham, that shloka comes in Bhagavad Gita, where it says complete reflection. And is there anywhere in any time we can derive any pleasure in the reflection? No way possible. We cannot, like, let us say there is a mango. If you take a reflection of mango, can we enjoy that? No, we cannot. Similarly, the happiness, what is this in the material world? It is just the reflection of the spiritual happiness, what is there in spiritual world. That's how Lord personally comes in this world in order to show that real happiness. When Lord comes personally in the earth to demonstrate his multiple pastimes, that time he brings that true happiness. And that's how when he comes, he perform multiple activities. The main purpose of Lord appearance is Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkam. That's what Lord says in Bhagavad Gita. But the main purpose of Lord's appearance here is to give pleasure to his devotees, to inspire others, to inspire uh, them to take him with the spiritual world. That is the main tendency, what main purpose by which Lord comes to this world. So there is a clear distinction between this happiness and the mood of Vaikuntha people, the spiritual world devotees, and the people in the material world. So here everybody was very happy when Mother Bhadra got engaged with the Lord, and there was no one having any envious. But still, sometimes we see in some of the pastimes where some people get envious of the Lord. When Lord Krishna was trying to get married to Mother Rukmini, that time her brother, then different kings were there. They were envious. So that represent that this is still there, but um, their Lord was just want to prove different things. So in Rukmini's case, we can see Lord was trying to see that for his devotee, Lord is ready to do anything. Even someone calls him like a kidnapper, he doesn't mind. So one time, Birbala was very much glorifying Lord in front of Akbar, King Akbar. And this Birbala, when he was glorifying Akbar, said, "Why are you always say this Lord? Your Lord personally goes anywhere. He does. He is such a big Lord, but why he goes personally?" So Birbala thought, "Let me teach him a lesson." So one day, the king's palace was huge, and there he makes an arrangement that the Akbar's um, uh, grandson, he makes a statue, and he makes the appearances like the uh, Akbar's grandson is taken in the boat, and when he sees that, immediately he uh, makes the arrangement that the boat sinks, and immediately as soon as the Akbar sees that boat is sinking, he jumps out of his throne and he goes and try to save his grandson, and then later he find out that, oh, this is not his son, it is actually a statue of his grandsons. So and that time he comes out and he little becomes upset. But that time Birbala says, "Now you see, just to protect your grandson, you personally came. You had so many servants. I was around you. Everybody was there. But still, you jumped out of your throne and you personally went because you loves that person more than anybody. So that's how you don't trust anyone to protect. You personally go. Similarly, my Lord is such a personality who loves his devotee like anything. That's how he personally comes. He personally comes as a Narasimha in different forms to protect his devotees. So, uh, this is the mood of the Lord. When Lord loves his devotees, he's not bothering about the world say anything what anybody says. Like in Bhagavad Gita, when was spoken, um, Lord is ready to break his own promise. Lord broke his own promise in order to save Arjuna. When Bhishma was fighting ferociously, Arjuna was not able to see anything, just the arrows of the Bhishma. That's it. And that time, Lord becomes so angry to protect his devotee Arjuna that he took a will to kill Bhishma, and Bhishma's become very happy that Lord is personally coming. Lord broke his promise because Bhishma also took a promise that I will make sure Lord breaks his promise. And what was Lord's promise? Lord's promise was that I will never lift weapon in the war of Kurukshetra. But here, when it's come to protection of his devotee, Lord is ready to do anything. Lord doesn't care about his own position. That is proved in Mother Rukmini's case, that is proved in Arjuna's case, that is proved in Bhishma's case. In all the scripture, if you see, Lord is ready to do anything for his devotees. So we can trust Lord fully. And that's how Lord can break his own promise, but he will never break his devotee's promise. That's how we should have firm faith in the promise of his devotee, especially his representative, which is coming as spiritual master. We should have firm faith in the words of the spiritual master that any point of time, this is the word coming from the devotee, and Krishna will never let these words go down. So the instruction of spiritual master is something which we should value in our life, is the most important jewel, which is a property of devotee, which should hold and follow that with the best of one's ability. It is said when Prabhupada was in his Grasta Lila, that time, though Prabhupada was having a lot of responsibilities, but still he was contemplating on the instruction of the spiritual master. So it is said the instruction of the spiritual master can be delayed, but it cannot be denied. It can be delayed because of certain things, but it should be followed at any cost. So Prabhupada is always contemplating that whatever instruction Bhakti Ansari Thakur had given, like you are a nice, gentle person, you speak very nice English, why don't you go west and preach Krishna consciousness? And Prabhupada is always contemplating how can he do it. He was trying different means, his ways, and one should have patience like a Prabhupada, that up to the age of 70 preparing entirely, trying different means, and if he's not successful means he's thinking that is a different plan for the Lord. So anytime any service we are doing, Prabhupada is our role model where we should have that patience, that success is guaranteed, just we have to continue. Because success in any spiritual service is not depend on only on our endeavor. We see in the case of Mother Yashoda, when Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna, baby Krishna, when Krishna has broken the pot of yogurt, Mother tried her best, but she couldn't tie Krishna. But when Krishna personally decided to tie himself, that time he's able to, Mother Yashoda is able to tie Krishna. Similarly, Prabhupada also had full faith that I will keep on endeavoring, and when Krishna wants, the success will come. So that's how any sadhaka who is practicing has to have full faith that my endeavor is one part of my success in spiritual duties, but ultimately when Lord will bless me, that time will definitely successful in any service. And it is said that the success in spiritual life is not countable, like the endeavor itself is a success. Like a lot of times somebody would go for book distribution, they may sell few books, but it is not. But in that process, right, there are multiple things happens. One time there was a discussion happening about devotees who goes for book distribution and the amount of money they get from the books. And that time it was clarified that the purpose of this book distribution is not only to get money. The purpose of book distribution is to give so many people chance to read Prabhupada book, touch Prabhupada books, and in that process the devotee who is doing that service, he himself also get purifies. He get, he understand his ego get pushed, he get lot of pushback in his ego, and he understand the value of devotees, that how devotees of the Lord are rare in this world. That's how everyone who goes for book division, they are really generally humble, and it is expected. If not, then they have to do more. So eh, when book division is happening, that time they approach multiple people, and nobody is ready to listen also. And there are very few souls they listen, and after they listening, very few they take books, and after taking, they, the books, we don't know when and where the book will impact. There are multiple numerous stories of book decision where multiple people are benefited by the books, and how they got it is a mystery. One time there is one Prabhupada disciple, Bhuishwara Prabhu in Boston. So he was telling, he was going in the train, and one of the book distributor, he just got distributing books, distributing, nothing happened. Finally he just got fed up. He was some new guy. He took up the back to Garden magazine and he thrown up in the train, and that magazine hit Prabhuji. And when it hit Prabhuji, Prabhuji said, what is this book? And he just opened it and he started reading. He liked it, and he found where is this place. He found the address. Then he went to temple, Boston temple, and then he made devotees, and gradually, and he said, my life, entire life changed. Now Prabhuji is one devotee, but his three generations are devotee. His devotee, his son is devotee, his grandsons are devotee. So we can imagine that one book changed the three generation. We don't know the impact of what book decision impacting everybody. So that's how every service, whatever is there, he has his own purpose. So the book decision purpose is not to get money. The book decision purpose is to purify the person who is distributing, and anybody who is distributing book, as soon as anybody takes that book, that person's whatever spiritual practice starts, that soul started blessing this book distributor. And anyway, it doesn't matter, it is not only book distribution, preaching also same thing. If you preach somebody, that person who practices Krishna consciousness, you also get blessed. So it is wonderful opportunity for any time to just speak about Krishna, to hear about Krishna, and to spread Krishna's message. It is said, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that anybody who preaches his glory is most dear to him. Why he said like that? Because every other service everybody can do, but to speak about somebody, right, you have to be lover of that person, then only that will penetrate, that will transfer. There are so many lip service people are there in the world who speaks Bhagavatam and so many other different things. The message is pure, but it will penetrate when the devotees of the Lord speaks it. And that's how the Prabhupada used to say, the Bhagavatam should not be sold. Bhagavatam should not be like Bhagavad Katha should be done free. Prabhupada never recommended doing Bhagavad Katha with paid money and all, because uh, if the money comes, right, it doesn't come out of love. Any service what we do for love, and any service we have done for money, still totally different. But in order to maintain the society, maintain certain things, we charge some little minor amount for books and some other services. But in general, all the services, whatever devotees of the Lord they do out of love. And it is certainly that for maintenance and all these things we have to give some money like that. But the message is, when one is lover of the Lord, then the message will penetrate. So it is wonderful to talk about this particular pastimes, how the mood of Vaikuntha how the mood of spiritual devotees of the devotees in the spiritual world, and the mood of devotees in the material world. So this was about sloka number 56. Now this sloka number 57, Lord married to Lakshmana. So there is a Lakshmana is she is a daughter of King Madra. So Madra king, he arranged a Swayamvara ceremony for her his daughter. So uh, generally in the Vedic time, the Kshatriya marriages are not done without any fight. They are just like there should be some virya ras, like there should be some chivalry in the marriages of Kshatriya. So uh, here Prabhupada writes that in the Swayamvara ceremony, Lord just took away the uh, Madra's daughter Lakshmana, just like Garuda takes his prey. Uh, uh, just like Garuda once stole the demigod's nectar. So uh, we know in the um, um, Samudra Manthan Lila, there is a nectar came out. So once Garuda snatched this nectar, just like all the demigods, they were looking, they just started looking and immediately it disappeared. So like that way, Lord captured this Mother Lakshmana and he took away from the marriage. So in this marriage, um, different kings had come and they ignored Lord Krishna and Dwarka and different Yadus. So there Krishna became upset and he wanted to prove that it's not that if they don't invite, Lord cannot come. Lord can do anything. Everything belongs to Lord. In this world, there is nothing which doesn't belong to Lord. Everything belongs to Lord, and Lord can acquire anything any point of time. So that's how one should never think self proprietor of certain things. That's how whenever devotee says anything, he says, "In care of me." It's not me, mine. It's in care of me. Anything, whatever devotee possesses, this laptop is in care of me. Or anybody has any possessions, or home, or any other property, everything, whatever Lord has given, he doesn't think it is mine. He says in care of me. Or he says this belongs to my Guru and Krishna. I'm just caretaker for this. And that's how devotees are aloof. So one time there was a discussion about simplicity of the devotees. So sometime it is said that it is very important for a devotee to be simple. So why it is important to be simple is because simplicity keeps us very much focus in our services. Otherwise, anytime if you think uh, anybody has very posh car, if he only comes to temple, right, his half mind is in half or we can say 90% of mind is in the car and his 10% here just whether somebody will tow his car, somebody will hurt his car, like that the tendency. But somebody has some simple basic car, he don't care, oh, I don't know, nothing is going to happen. That's how devotees of the Lord are simple. When it's come to their personal, they are very simple, but when it's come to decorating the Lord, serving the Lord, they want everything opulent because they want to serve the Lord with gorgeously. So that's the difference. As one progresses in Krishna consciousness, he thinks big for the Lord. For himself, he thinks very simple. That's how when Prabhupada is in time, there used to be so many palatable dishes used to be prepared. And Prabhupada said, these are for Lord and for guest. Our devotee should eat simple rice dal. Our devotee should eat simple khichdi. Because simplicity start with food. Input, what do we take? The way we eat, the way we dress, the way we speak, the way we lead a life, that is how the simplicity is reflected. And it will be multi-directional. If we just try to do in one area simple, another direction very opulent or very much like karmi people, definitely one day will be dragged into full their flow, because the social pressure is so much that in order to maintain the status of the person, he has to work very hard. And if person has to work very hard, he has to involve so much into karmi materialistic duties. He has to involve so much with the materialistic association. He has to work extra hours, and just to maintain his status he has to work. And after that, like, the status is something. If the status one is at this level, after some time one thinks of going other status, and it never goes down. That's how devotee has to be very very simple. Goswamis is the best example. All the six Goswamis, they were just wearing very two simple clothes, and they were not sleeping on under the same tree. Why? They are so simple that they think that even if I sleep on this under one tree multiple days, I'll get attached to this. I don't want to be attached to anything. That's how our Goswamis, they have set up the example so high standard that they used to sleep under every tree, every another tree, and every another day. So like that way, and the simplicity is very important, and that's how their focus. They didn't have any time to maintain. Like even if we have simple house also, right? To maintain our house takes a lot of time. But as devotee progresses in spiritual life, as his gaze grows, he gradually thinks his material responsibility, material duties goes down, his spiritual consciousness elevates, his focus towards Krishna more, his focus towards chanting the holy name of the Lord, reading Bhagavatam, studying Krishna consciousness, and his personal needs goes down and his services enhances. So when one has that mood, that time one become very much connected to his consciousness to the spiritual world. So that should be aspiration. I seek your all of your blessing to aspire that elevated level. So the Uttama Adhikari is that level where he continuously absorbing Krishna. He doesn't have anything, and anybody who is in full absorption in the service of the Lord, automatically all the material things are taken care. Things will come, like Haridas Tagore and all devotees, they were just fully absorbed and automatically things used to come to them. They used to just have to clap and things will come. Because everything belongs to Lord. And as things belong to Lord, any devotee who is more and more dedicated in service of the Lord, automatically things will come. One doesn't have to extra additionally put effort. One has to certainly do one's duty. It doesn't mean one should be escaping one's duty, but while doing duty, one should think that, oh my Lord, one day if you give me a chance, I'll try to serve full time. I'll try to fully dedicate myself. And when Lord sees that this particular person is fully dedicating to me, that time Lord will facilitate all this means so that he can continuously serve the Lord. So as one continuously serves the Lord, Lord become very much pleased. Guru become very much pleased. And when Hari, Guru and Vaishnava they are around us, they are pleased, we become very much satisfied in our spiritual life. And that is the best sign. That is the best way one is protected in one's spiritual life. So here we can see that Mother Lakshmana internally she was desiring. Lord will never force anybody, anyone. But here Mother Lakshmana was desiring to marry Lord Krishna, and that's how Lord personally comes and takes her from the Swayamvara. So Lord never forces anybody to do anything. Lord, because Lord is seated within our everyone's heart. Lord knows what we desire. Lord knows what we have desired earlier, what we are desiring now, and what we're going to desire in future also Lord knows. So that's how the Lord, we cannot hide anything from the Lord. So the honesty in spiritual life is the most important. We can cheat whole world, but we can never cheat the Lord, because Lord knows us not from this lifetime, lifetime to lifetime, our different spaces, whatever we have been traveling, Lord is personally watching us and Lord knows us. So anybody who is sincere, trying to put his effort to come closer to the Lord, definitely Lord will facilitate. So the price for one's conditioning is to be honest thoroughly and submit to Lord and Lord's devotees. And when submits to the Lord's devotee, definitely Lord become very much pleased. And the shelter what we seek of the devotee association is one of the most important factor in one's spiritual life, because our association shapes us, our association encourages us, our association uh, gives us strength in spiritual life. Otherwise, Maya is very powerful. One will immediately taken away. So one has to seek the strong association. When Parikshit Maharaj he was leaving this world, he did three prayers to the Lord. Among them, the first prayer what he did is, "Oh my Lord, please always bless me so that I can be an associate of His devotees." And he didn't ask any other prayer. First prayer he asked. He did three prayers while leaving this world. Parikshit Maharaj. The first prayer he did is, "Oh Lord, always keep me in association of your sincere devotee. If I am in association, everything will manifest." Second prayer he did is, "Oh Lord, always give me remembrance of your lotus feet." And third prayer he did is, "Oh Lord, always give me compassion for the all living entities." So among three prayers, what he did while leaving this world, the first prayer he did is, "I want to be in association of devotees." If we are in association of devotees, sometimes there will be differences, sometimes there will be some things which will not go with our way. But definitely, it is the austerity. In the age of Kali Yuga, Prabhupada said the austerity is not at physical level, the austerity is at mental level. To stay together with devotees with differences and still continue in service is the greatest austerity which one can do. And when one does that austerity, Lord will become very much pleased. And when Lord is pleased, that is perfection. What is our purpose of our service? Is to please the Lord, nothing else. So just by doing simple austerity to be staying with devotees, Lord become very much pleased. Because Lord says, Aham Bhakta Paravina. Lord is said, I am a property of the devotees. And if we are with devotees, we are with the Lord. We are not separated. That's why we should not try to break devotees' heart. Devotees' heart where Lord resides. And If you break the heart, definitely Lord get hurt. No matter how much advanced or how much what level one of Krishna consciousness, but if one try to take devotee very cheaply, definitely he will be one day kicked out of association. So one should value the devotees. We may know also certain may somebody may have some shortcomings, but we should see that he is accepted by the Lord. And if someone is accepted by the Lord, who are we to judge? Who are we to try to point or comment on anybody? So anybody who is engaged in service of the Lord, we should respect that. And when we respect and try to ignore the bad side of the person. If everyone is in Kali Yuga, it is like said, Kalo Doshe Nidhi Rajan. It is a Nidhi means ocean. It is a ocean of faults. But devotee, at least they are taking Krishna consciousness, they are practicing Krishna consciousness. We should value that. And always think whenever we are trying to see any shortcomings of any devotee, that am I the right person to judge that person? Am I the right authority to correct that person? Who is me? I have also so many faults. I also limited in my capacity. So how can I judge others? So if one thinks oneself that way, then one will be rightly situated. Otherwise, if we just try to contemplate and we try to delight in the shortcoming of the devotees, just matter of time that will come in us. So one has to be very careful when we are in devotee circle to value the association, to protect oneself on all the shortcomings of others, when try to look good in them and try to learn from them, submit them with our best of capacity, and following the instruction of spiritual master and Prabhupada, which is ultimate spiritual master for all of us, is very very important. So in this pastimes, so we saw there are two princes where Lord Krishna married. Is one is Bhadra, another is Mother Lakshmana, and in both the pastimes, it's everything is Lord's, so they can marry Lord. So that is the perfection. Ultimately, everything comes from the Lord, and when it is engaged in service of the Lord, that is the perfection of everything. That's how we also part and parcel of the Lord. When we get engaged in the service of the Lord, that is our perfection. Well, okay, so with that note, I will seek any comments, questions.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for your class. Few things you said, love and faith. We should do our service without any personal motivation. That's
Yes.
what generally in this material world, love is based on give and take. If there is no pain, there's no work, no sense gratification. Kamini, Kanchini. These two things are the. Um, Another thing you said, you not find faults in devotees. That breaks our spirit. We become far away. Uh, it says Kali Yuga is ocean of faults like that. But generally, we have a program like we follow the program like what our we learn from. Like we have a new Bhakta program. They are trained, and then they go. Then naturally, if they are not trained, then they will commit mistakes. So is it that you will find faults in that sense?
Two people can find the faults. One is your teacher and your parents. Nobody else has the rights to find faults with anybody, because the intention what that service is done is not to pull you down, but to boost or encourage you, correct you, perfect you in your service. So there is no problem in anybody who is a teacher, mentor, or parents. It's definitely they have the rights. That is their service basically. It is very difficult service to correct devotees, especially those are in authority position. They have very challenging position, because they want to help you, at the same time they don't want to hurt you, and it is one of the difficult job to help somebody and to don't hurt anybody while correcting. It's not that easy. One has to have that pure heart, pure compassion in heart, and when with that compassion it is done, that time that person will not get hurt. But if there is a dinch of, or most of the time in general, if one is not at pure at heart, and one is trying to find faults and correct others, right, that time it is done out of just ego, so it doesn't help that person. So anybody who is offering correction, that person has to be right, that there should be relation. At least we should know, if we cannot do it, we have to do it some particular channel, any correction or any modification done in any devotee, it has to be done with the right channel. And it is said, um, everything needs some connection. Any current to flow need connection. The correct anybody who has a relation, that person only can correct, not everybody. So that is how it is important for us to understand our heart while doing or finding faults. And even if we find faults, we are no one to comment or do anything. It's basically it's a impure state of mind where one will find faults. Otherwise, everything has a two side, good and bad side. So if we try to see good side, fault will automatically overcome. We have two hands. The hands will be filled with either something, it will be good or bad. So that's how our eyes also, mind also. If our mind is tuned to find good in others, automatically it look good. Automatically the mouth, if our thinking is good, automatically the appreciation will flow from our mouth for that devotee personality. But immediately as soon as the negative thinking is there, we'll start finding fault. And will it is a material contaminated mind which always finds fault. So only two personalities, parents and teachers, has the rights. Otherwise, no one should. If one is going, definitely thinks that we should get alert. Okay, something going wrong.
Is it not deviation? Like suppose example in Bhagavad Gita it says when the elders,
Mhm.
uh, everything stops, all the process like slowly. Like during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, then all deviation started slowly. Everything was this, then whenever a great personality goes like that, slowly, slowly, everything becomes with time.
No, no. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left. There was no deviation. All the six Goswamis exactly 100% followed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And anybody, it is a succession where the representative, whatever he says, one has to be followed. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all Parampara came, Prabhupada came, they exactly because who is a true representative is will never dilute the message. He will, that mood will be maintained. Externally, it may look something differently, but the mood is maintained. The mood, what Prabhupada used to say, if you want to really please me, Prabhupada didn't ask that I'll please by this service, that service. Prabhupada says, if you want to please me, love Krishna. I'll be very happy if I see you love Krishna. That's what the same mood from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Prem. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought it. Kolar Kera Premada. Hajam Sankirtan. He brought it and Prabhupada did the same. So there is no diversion after this thing left. And anytime we should always question ourselves that am I the right person to judge? Am I the authority? Am I the appointed person? If not, then I have no rights to find anything. I have to just follow. If we are finding fault with anyone, definitely we have these faults. We have problems in us because we are not followed somebody. We are also thinking that other person's problem. And anybody who is sincere within the heart, Paramatma seated will correct that person to come to the right position. It is just matter of time. It is said this is a hospital. Not everyone is pure. Everyone like unclean. We are under shower. We are under getting cleaned up like that way. So uh, anytime when we see this kind of situation, if we are in authority position, we have rights to communicate to particular person, but not direct person. That person, let us say A person has a fault and B is authority. We can very well, if you feel compassion about that A person, we can report to B, his authority. We don't have rights to say unless we are appointed that okay, under so and so many devotees are there, you take care of them, mentor them, train them in spiritual practices. We have rights. Otherwise, we don't have any rights. We should not correct. Let us say there is a department here, we have multiple departments in our temple. Whatever services are assigned to, we should focus on our service only. We should not interfere others' service. Because that person who is heading, he knows the holistic picture of his services. He is looking his department. So that's how it should be looked. And above all department heads, there is a temple management. So it is said we should follow, and everybody is in line. Whatever instruction coming from top, the particular department follows, and for particular department head, whatever he says to us, we have to follow that. So apparently, sometimes it is just a false ego, nothing else than that which makes us say something or find something. So the things has to be done with the right channel, otherwise it won't help. The it is just like operation successful, what patient did. What is the use? We want the operation to succeed, the patient also survive. So like that way it will happen only when there is a compassion in our heart, or we are appointed specifically to do particular service. Otherwise, we should not do. It's not at all recommended. It's not healthy also. If the one day we do with one devotee, next day we'll do another devotee, it will spoil the Vaishnava interculture. It is not good at all. That's what I feel, but you know better. Prabhuji just checks whether I know one. So he knows all the answer. Yes, anything? Any comment? Chaitanya Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the class. It is just a realization, nothing doubt or anything. It was nice how you bring in stories to explain, different verses and everything. It gives a very good, you know, light to any idea or any not idea, sorry, any philosophy. So it stays in your head for a long time, at least for the week it stays. So it has a lasting imprint. Like, I think for the past 2 months, I tried to attend. So all the stories which you have told and according philosophies, right? So they were attached to each other. So at every weekend you would have something in your head, and that would stay throughout the week. And then the next week, a devotee like you, someone else, they come and they give an example and philosophy that stays on throughout the week. So it kind of sets the tone for the week, I feel. So yeah, thank you very much, bro, for giving wonderful classes.
Hare Krishna.
You were bringing up the points of, the two categories of persons that are in a position to correct or direct someone, being the parent or the person who's directly supervising someone. It's very interesting. One of the things that's said about parents with correcting children is that it's done in a mood of friendliness. And this at least is from the psychological perspective, because the friendliness, the mood of friendliness, provides that support for something that requires mental adjustment on the part of the child. And the same thing goes for somebody in some position of directing somebody or correcting someone. The the mood is one of friendliness, therefore there's supportiveness. So that is what I think the integral component is for what makes it bearable for the recipient. Just thinking about it, because
No, I'll just little bit elaborate this point. It is just like a emotional bank account with the person, and when you are trying to correct, you are withdrawing from him. So if you have that bond, right? Parents have big emotional bank account with their kid, so they can withdraw, and that's how they can correct. Similarly, anybody who is trying to correct other person, he should have that emotional bank account, that person, where that relation is so thick that it can withstand corrections. Then only we can withdraw. If the bank is zero account, what we cannot draw any money like that. So the emotional bank account has to be filled. The relation has to build first. There should be investment of relation. There should be investment of time and energy. Then only we can withdraw from there. So that's how it works. Perfect. But thank you, Mataji. Okay. Thank you for joining today's Bhagavatam. Shil Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.